Well, as ongoing legal battles in the Trump campaign continued this week, New Mexico Republican Chairman Steve Pearce speaks out on how the party's been so successful in their legal battles defending election integrity and how they might be a blueprint for other states to follow. Here's one America's John Hines with that report.
Chairman Pearce, I understand that New Mexico has had some voting irregularities. What seems to be going on in your state, sir?
Well, it's a multitude of things. You get what I call the retail corruption. That's where you have the dead people voting. Then people who've moved out of state, some for 10, 12, 15 years. So there's an organized attempt to never clean up the voter rolls to where that these people can, even if they've been buried for years, can apply for absentee ballots, get them and vote. So that's the retail end of it. And the wholesale end, keeping us away from the certification of the absentee ballots was egregious, and we took that to the state Supreme Court. State Supreme Court, controlled by Democrats, refused to hear the case. That was a very political decision. So those are the types of things that we're seeing.
What sort of concerns do you have maybe about the voting machines in New Mexico, and what actions possibly can you take with regard to some of those voting machines and some of the irregularities that people have been suggesting are present?
We are going to impound ballots in selected races across New Mexico to where we can see exactly what the machines were doing, and we will have volunteers to hand count those counties. I believe that we have a couple of races that we are within reach of turning those around. So we'll see exactly what the Dominion machines were creating once we get access to the hand ballots.
Now, I think that the Republican Party of New Mexico has a record of defending election integrity, I'm told, or I guess what I read. What sort of a record is that? How have you been active in the past, perhaps the Republican Party of New Mexico, in providing for election integrity in the state?
Well, last year, the Secretary of State announced that she was going to distribute mail-in ballots. That's the vote-by-mail system, as differentiated from the absentee mail system. We took that issue to the state Supreme Court. We won that, even though the Democrats were 4-1 majority. We had a unanimous opinion that New Mexico law does not allow vote-by-mail system. But we also have taken the Secretary of State to court probably 3 or 4 times. We filed, get one candidate, Democrat candidate, that did not have correct signatures, didn't bother to get any. And so we got him kicked off the ballot. We defended 1 or 2 of our candidates there that the Democrats are trying to get eliminated off the ballot. So this has probably been as big a year for the Republican Party of New Mexico in court as we've ever had.
It sounds like you've been very busy. Why have we not heard about this before, sir?
We just do our business out here. The mainstream media doesn't want to say much about it, but we talk when we go to court. We've done press conferences explaining exactly what the problems that we're seeing are. And so we'll just keep doing that, and if people will pay attention, it's out there.
I'm wondering if you think perhaps that there is something like, maybe for lack of a better word, a Democratic playbook that has been applied here in New Mexico.
Absolutely. I think New Mexico may be the blueprint for the rest of the states. Our state legislature has been controlled by Democrats for 90 years. They have systematically put into place that makes it very difficult for us to challenge, for us to recount. It used to be the law that you had to keep the count going all night long. If you needed overtime or fine, if you needed to bring in other people, that was the law. Our state legislature, again controlled by Democrats, changed that this year to where there would be the shutdown at 11 o'clock. And during that shutdown, that's when we began to see the anomalies. People were ahead by a lot. The next morning, as soon as the counting started, then people were suddenly behind, or the race had gotten very tight. Those, if you're not counting during the middle of the night, how did those anomalies occur? And I think that the president is justified in looking at every one of these situations. That's the reason that we in New Mexico are looking at that situation.
Steve Pearce, the chairman of the Republican Party of New Mexico and also a former member of Congress, member of the House of Representatives. Thank you for talking to us on One American News, sir. It's good to catch up with you.
Want to see more videos like this? Visit OANN.com for immediate access to all the clips you've been waiting to see.